All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are continuing this morning with the reading of the law and ordering the judgments. So you can kind of consider it ordering the judgments part 2, but we're going to continue to be ordering judgments throughout the series, and then we'll point out the ordinance, statutes, and precepts as we get to them. So right now, let's review. So the judgment is how you think, right? How you are to perceive something, right? Now, the judgments cover the law, which covers your thoughts. It's also like the flow, right? So this is the general idea of the law. It's kind of like, hey, if you don't stop at a red light, you either going to cause an accident and have to pay a bill, or you're going to end up getting a ticket and having to pay, the punishment, the fine. So when you're talking about ordering judgments, right? So we're talking about now, this is how we perceive a thing, and this is the common understanding, right? This is what everybody is to understand about a rule. So now we started out with taking daughters, right? And, what we intend to do with them, because they have to be protected. They have to be covered. So you're talking about if we're taking somebody's daughter, she's either coming to marry our son, coming to marry ourselves, right? Because every woman is someone's daughter, right? Or if they're coming in for opportunity and for self-improvement, then we're giving them education, training, and they have a job, and then that money goes with them back to their families while we're providing them with housing, right? So we're giving them room and board. That's what we call it in America, but it's housing and food. All right. So we're going to pick up now with Exodus chapter 21, verse 12. Those of you who have the Pseudo Jonathan from Kindle by Tove Rose, that's the Pseudo Jonathan, pseudo, right? The real fake, right? The fake real. Either way, because pseudo means it could be authentic and it could be fake. They're not classifying it. So the Pseudo Jonathan Targum, right? Which is the Torah. Now, you'll notice they don't call it a Torah, they call it a Targum. And the reason why is because the manuscript is not a religious document. It is an instruction manual. It is a manuscript for how to build the kingdom. Now, again, this entire house of Amalek, right, this whole Western society has kind of been riled up in recent days, and the controversy about what you can and cannot say about them. Well, I don't give a hootenanny. You can go on, put me on the shadow ban list. I've been on the shadow ban list from the beginning, so it doesn't even matter. All right, so here's what we need to do. We're going to continue reading from this translation of this manuscript and getting the understanding of our law and continuing to slowly begin to process our minds. Again, there is a rule within. It's not about what you know, right? It's about what you do. So knowing the law is the first step. You heard it, you know about it, but you have not performed it yet. You have not done it. So with this basic understanding, please understand that these classes literally are foundational training. You still have to come and you still have to do. All right. So picking up on verse 12. All right. Whosoever smiteth a son or a daughter of Israel, of the children of Israel, right? Or the nation of Israel, because there are those who have been bonded to us, so as to cause death, shall be put to death with the sword. Period. Right? So first of all, if you cause the death of a person of Israel, its automatic repercussion is death. Okay? That's what it is. That's the law. Okay? Now, with that being the foundation of the law, and we have the common understanding of the punishment, the law, we're now going to mete out the instances. Okay? So, if a policeman accidentally kills somebody, that policeman, well, you can't say accidentally. If he pulls out his pistol in the line of duty and shoots a son of Israel, right, who was unarmed, he has to die. He was armed, the other person was not. Period. End of story. Right? If the other person is armed and retaliating, or may be in the act of retaliating, that's different. The policeman is given, a mercy, but we'll get into some of the other angles. All right. So, but he who did not attack him, but mischance from before Yah befell him at his hand, I will appoint thee a place where he may flee. So if there's an accident, right? We're on the job and, there's an accident, and the accident came from somebody's tool. Somebody slipped and fell, and there's an accident, and somebody just accidentally dies. We're talking a real accident, nothing staged, right? So a genuine accident, this person has a place that they can go to, and they have to remain there, and there has to be a trial, there has to be an investigation, and this person, they're not in prison, but there is a city of refuge. Okay, so they go to this place, and although the family has the right to send somebody to go get revenge, to take this person's life, the person who comes to take their life, he may wait outside the city of refuge, right, until he catch this man and kill him if that man is outside, right? That man knows what his situation is. He's supposed to stay inside the city of refuge. He'll be safe there. Everybody can visit him there. He can walk around the city. He can shop. He's free while the investigation is ongoing. All right? But if a man come maliciously upon his neighbor to kill him with craft, so if you come maliciously and you try to plan or plot out some crafty or ingenious way to kill somebody, though the priests are ministering at my altar, so you can kill somebody and make it look like an accident or make it look like something else. And when it finally comes out that you guys had an ought and you killed this person, with craftiness, right? You thought of a plan, a plot, a scheme. You did a setup, you know what I'm saying? And the priests now are trying to, make the investigation. That's what it means when the priests are minister at my altar. There is a population investigation. There is a priestly investigation done, at the temple. We're going to investigate on all accounts. And while the priests are protecting you, because in the city of refuge, you are in the priest's protection. It says, once we know and it's found out, we're going to take you from there bodily. We move you from the city of refuge because we can't kill you in the city of refuge. This is a safe place. But you've been found guilty. We can take you from there, take you out, and then kill you with the sword. And he who woundeth his father or mother shall die by strangling. So there's no toleration for rebellious children. If you don't comply with your parents' wishes, and you guys get into an altercation, you're going to get hung or strangled to death. You're going to die. Okay, there's no room for this, for disrespectful or rebellious generation any further. This is our law. This is our rule. Now, you can come up with all the what ifs or what abouts. We don't deal with hypothetical situations. There has to be a lawful, legitimate claim. So you're going to have to learn the law to know what the legitimate claims are so that you can see how it meets out. But right now, you're just going to understand the foundation, which is you raise up against your parents and you strike them, you're going to die. They're going to get hung. You're going to get strangled, choked out to death. We're going to send you back to the grave, and you can discuss it with the Most High face to face. He who stealeth a soul of the children of Israel and selleth him, or if he be found in his possession, shall die by strangling. So the punishment for human trafficking is death. There's a death penalty, and it says to hang them, right? So when you hang somebody, they hang to the death, you put a display, a sign, this person was caught human trafficking, kidnapping, you know what I'm saying? Right? So if you steal somebody, it's kidnapping, you have to understand this is the death penalty, period. All right? This is what the law is, folks. It's time to stop removing justice because this is justice. All right? Somebody take your son or take your daughter. Anybody steal a soul here, death. There is a death penalty for that person. He who curseth his father or his mother by the great name shall die by being stoned with stones. So if you curse your parents out and do this in the holy name of the Most High, right? That's it. You're going to get stoned to death, right? There is no mockery of the holy name of God, okay? There's no incorporating this with dishonor to your fathers and your mothers, right? No. That's it, death. Just want you to know what it is because, I don't want people like this even coming. This is what we're doing here. So while you may be looking at the advantages, getting a palace, building a beautiful building, the wealth, the prosperity. Listen, if you're going to be doing these things, just want you to know it's the death penalty. You can come, you can have it, we'll strangle you and give it to somebody else. We'll stone you and give it to the next one in your name. That's what it is. That's how it works. I'm just giving you guys the straight up facts because you have to know that there is a hard line here. This is not America. We are not in a democracy. There's no vote. There's no trial by jury, okay? No trial by jury, you know what I'm saying? We listen to the witness testimonies. We collect the evidence. We look at everything, and then there's a deliberation time to see if there's any more evidence. And in no hurry. There's no hurry. You know what I'm saying? If the investigation takes years, it takes years. If it takes days, days. If it takes months, months. But once we come to that final conclusion, if you're guilty, it's death. And if you're innocent, you're free. But there is no getting away with it. All right? Even if the court sends you away innocent and it's later you found guilty, they can bring you back. I want to make this clear because I don't really need people who are coming just looking for an opportunity. This is about nobility. So this is about your moral character. And people of strong moral fiber, strong moral character will hear these laws, understand the justice in it, and will walk in it to the letter. Because everyone in administration, in the kingdom's administration, will have to be guiltless when it comes to walking this law. Okay? You're going to have to be from the top down. So it's on me. I have to be a perfect example of not breaking the law. Okay? And then everyone after me has to be the same. You have to be guiltless. Okay? When men strive together and one smite his neighbor with a stone with his fist so that he didn't die, okay, but he was injured, he falls ill, If he rise again from his illness and walk in the street upon his stick, his staff, he who smote him shall be acquitted from the penalty of death, only for the cessation from his labor, his affliction, his injury, his disgrace, and the hire of the physician, he shall make good until he be cured. So if you get into a fight with somebody and say, you didn't kill him, you may have struck him and he was sick, injured, maybe he got knocked out, he suffered damages, right? So you see this a lot of times in boxing matches. Just want you to know how we feel about that here. So you get into this altercation, right? Even if it's for sport. The penalty is you have to pay for that man's illness, his recovery. You have to pay for his home, his household, right? Because he have to have his labor, right? You have to pay for his injury, his disgrace. There's an extra added fine that you have to pay for his injury, his disgrace. You have to pay for his doctor bills, and you have to continue to pay for all of this man's expenses until he come back to being normal, if he ever. So, as you can clearly see, while we do have sports training, like training to fight, we do not fight for sport. So that sport is out. It's not in the community. So there is training for self-defense, training for, like security applications. But there is no training for sport. You know what I'm saying? So there's no MMA, there's no boxing. You understand? So now, and entertainment and sports in general has been brought all the way down to the lowest forms, right? It's not a high form. It's not a high thing, okay? So the administration is number one. This is the high positions. And entertainment is the low positions. That's the structure here. And when a man has smitten his Canaanite manservant or maidservant, so his male or female employee, right, from the land, right, a Canaanite, right, so he's not part of Israel, right? But he lives here, right, and he died the same day unto his hand, he shall be with the judgment of death by the sword. So you cannot kill, your servants. You cannot beat them to death. You cannot kill them. If you shed innocent blood, period, the penalty for you is death by sword. Okay, so this is the rule here. Okay, if the wounded person continue 1 or 2 days from time to time, he shall not be judged so, because with money he have bought him. Okay, so if the person, right, that's wounded, if he get up and he's normal for a few days, all right, maybe he had an underlying condition that killed him, right? It's not attributed to you, the death, right? So, and because you were paying him, so like I said, he says you bought him with money, that's an employee, because you're paying him, right? So if he suffered a punishment, a normal punishment, he was wrong, he was guilty, you're not punishing him because he ain't, because you just want to be oppressive. But say he committed a crime or he did something and he was punished. Well, now, after the punishment, he went 2 days and now all of a sudden you find him, he died due to, some strange condition, He was normal after the punishment. If men, when striving, strike a woman with child and cause it to miscarry. So if there's an argument and a fight between men and there's a pregnant woman involved and this fight spill over to the pregnant woman and cause her to miscarry, but not to lose her life. So she miscarries the child, but the woman lives. The fine on account of the infant which the husband of the woman shall lay upon him, he shall pay according to the sentence of the judges. So the husband now of the woman that lost the child, he's going to make a demand of money that you're going to have to pay. Now, when you have to pay this money, the courts will hear the squabble, right? We'll hear the argument, right, of both sides. So this side's going to say, yeah, these two guys were fighting and this woman was here. We'll hear the story. He'll lay his fine down. I did lose a child. We had a miscarriage. We have everything. We have the proof, documentations, pictures, everything. Then we're going to come back and we're going to look at this evidence. We're going to look at the fine. We're going to look at the altercation, because the altercation also has to be judged. We'll judge the altercation, look at the fine, and then determine what the fine amount to be paid is, and that's the end of that. But if death befall her, so now if death falls on the woman who was pregnant, then thou shalt judge the life of the killer for the life of the woman. So the person that fell on this woman and injured this woman, it life for life, death for death. So if it's both two strange men fall on a pregnant woman, well, the both of them are going to go, right? If it's one man, right, and she's trying to protect her husband and just maintain some peace and order, because you know how altercations go, the man that's attacking will lose his life, right? The woman died, she lost a child, and she died. The man that's attacking will lose his life. End of the story. The value of an eye for an eye, the value of a tooth for a tooth, the value of a hand for a hand, the value of a foot for a foot, all equivalent of the pain of burning for burning, and of wounding for wounding, and of blow for blow. So this is how the Most High makes justice. He's telling you now, he judges it like this, and this is his equal scale. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, hand for a hand, foot for foot, blow for blow, burning for burning. If you commit these crimes, this is how we emit judgment upon it. So this is our nazakun, our law of damages. Okay? Whenever someone has our tort law, our justice law, right? So whenever these things happen, this is the punishment for the action. It has nothing to do with how you feel about it. It doesn't matter your opinion. When we look at what has happened, right? When we look at what has happened, we will judge based upon what has happened. There's no philosophizing, just what happened. And this is the judgment for this action. And that's it. You're going to receive the judgment. Okay? There's a full investigation. We don't want you to understand it's not like America's courts. You know what I'm saying? And everybody, when questioned, nobody can turn a blind eye. Everybody who turns a blind eye, well, we're going to get to that law too. So if something happens in the street and nobody witnesses nothing, nobody. So as we grow, you're going to see, right? We'll get more than one community. If there should happen that a crime is committed and somebody died and nobody in the community talk, we come in and we kill everybody in the community because they're all guilty. It means they all participated in this, right? There was no judgment. There was no crime that this was a punishment. Nobody knows nothing. Everybody is complicit in this action. We kill everybody, and we burn the whole place down. And then we put a sign up in front of this village. This village was a place where so-and-so and so-and-so was murdered, and nobody spoke the truth. We kill everybody. So, but we'll get there. We'll get there. We're going to get there. I'm just putting it out there just because I know the culture we come from in America, where in black neighborhoods, crimes happen and people don't talk. And you have a right not to talk to those police because they're not of your people, you see, and you're being governed by not your people. But when you come here, this is totally different, right? I'm telling you right now, over here, when you get here, I'm telling you, everybody is telling the truth. It's not snitching. If you had nothing to do with it, you say what you saw, and that's the end. Nothing, no harm, no foul comes to you. Just speak the truth. And they will submit evidence from cameras, all the neighbors, when approached by a sheikh, a judge, they are going to submit information. All right, so we're back. Just had a battery die. I had to swap it out real quick. All right, so the people here, when something happens and they're approached by a judge, they don't want no involvement with the punishment. So they're going to confess what they saw straightforward, right? They'll sit there and watch, and they're not going to take a side. They're really going to say what they saw. So you have to understand this is the culture here. And so we're looking for good people that's going to come and keep this custom, keep this tradition, and be truthful and honest, right? This is not a mobster gangster mentality. We have a village and a community mentality. And the mentality of the community, the judgment of the community is this law, okay? When a man strikes the eye of his Canaanite manservant or handmaid and causes blindness, he shall let him go free on account of the eye. So if you give somebody a black eye, right, you hit him in the eye, that eye close up, you can't see out that eye. It's this blindness. People don't understand that temporary blindness is the same, it's blindness. So you hit somebody in the eye and that eye blacken up and close up, that person no longer works for you no more. The end. You have terminated their contract. All right? And that goes for a woman or a man. So this is telling you not to be a striker. If you strike out the tooth of his Canaanite manservant or maidservant, he shall go free on account of the tooth. So again, you hit them, and you're knocking tooth out. Again, they're gonna go free. We're just telling you, the law is expressing to you, there is a correction for punishment, but you're not here to bring anybody into oppression. They're here to work for you. You're going to pay them, and they go home. Right? You're buying them with money. You're buying their time. You're buying their service, right? Hitting them and getting to an argument or a fight or physical altercation, you're terminating your contract, even if they're contracted to work to you for, another 30 or 40 years because you gave them a wife, all right? Whatever the issues are, we have a court, we have a judgment to deal with these issues. Right? Everybody's going to abide by this law. Everybody's going to be enforced by this law. If an ox goreth a man or woman to cause death, the ox must be stoned, but shall not be killed that his flesh may be eaten. Okay? So if you have an ox that injured somebody, we're going to take the ox out, tie it down. You're going to stone it. But you're not going to stone it to death. You're going to stone it. It's going to become weak and injured, right? It's be losing a lot of blood. And then it gets eaten. But the owner of the ox shall be exempt from the condemnation of death, and also the price of the servant or the handmaid. So because this owner lost this ox, right, the loss of the ox is the equal expenditure of the cost of the damages to the person that was injured, their medical damage, their medical fees, this. So in this case, this person takes an L, and the owner also takes an L because of the value of the ox. But if the ox had been wont to gore yesterday and before, and it had been attested before his owner 3 times. So if you know, like, hey, you got this ox, he's a little rambunctious, right? He's a little aggressive. If you've been warned about this ox 3 times and you didn't do nothing, right? You didn't restrain him, or maybe you couldn't restrain him and you didn't kill it. All right. He had neglected to restrain him. The ox, when he killeth, man or woman shall be stoned, and his master also shall die with a death sent upon him from heaven. So both of them going to die, period. Just want you to know, okay? Everybody's like, well, that sounds a little faint, like, what you mean by, and first of all, we don't go by what you mean. We go by what's written. All right? So they both going to die. We'll figure it out. Trust me. But if you didn't deal with that ox and that ox killed somebody, because yes, we do have sheep, goat, ox, cows. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? That stuff has to be managed. You have to handle that. You have to deal with those situations. So if that ox is aggressive, you might want to put that one down. You see what I'm saying? You may want to kill him, put him down, eat him, but don't let him kill somebody and everybody's warning you like, hey, that ox is dangerous. 3 warnings, and it's known, it becomes common knowledge that that ox is a bad beast. He's aggressive. All right. You and that ox going to die. Yet a fine of money may be laid upon him, and he may give a ransom for his life. So here's the death sent upon him from heaven, right? So I told you, we're going to get right to it. So, okay, rather than, this ox is going to die, period. But rather than you die, they may lay upon you a fine, a ransom for your life. Now, this is going to be expensive, but you're going to have to pay that to save your own life. So now, I guarantee you, they're going to put something on you to try to send you to the poorhouse, right? Because it's killed their loved one. They're going to want wealth, right? They're going to sit there and look at your stuff, calculate about how much it's worth, and try to get you for all of it. And it's either you pay or you die. Now, the beautiful part is no matter what they lay upon you, you're going to get time to pay it. You're just going to be paying for a long time. You know what I'm saying? You can pay for up to the longest is about a good, 48 years. So, and he may give a ransom for his life according to what shall be imposed upon him by the Sanhedrin of Yasharal. So the Sanhedrin is the high court, right? It is one of the king's courts, one of them. So we have 2. So you have the Council of the 70, and then you have below the Council of the 70, the Great Sanhedrin. Now, the reason why you say, what do you mean? We know that the Sanhedrin is the high court. How is the Council of the 70 above it? So the Council of the 70, first of all, is of all the chiefs of the kings. So there is, every king is a prince, right? He's the son of somebody. So there is the Council of the 70, which consists of the kings of the 70 nations, right? As specified by David. This council is the high council, which some of you may be a part of in the future, right? It's a glorious honor and one of the most prestigious merits you can have. So when you're a part of the king's court, the king's 70, we deal with a different type of issues, right? But every member of the Council of 70 is also part of the Great Sanhedrin, the Sanhedrin court. So you have to understand there are 13 Sanhedrins, right? You say, what? There's one in every nation, and then there's one extra one in the city of Jerusalem, right? So you have a Sanhedrin, and then there's the Great Sanhedrin, right? In the Council of the 70, the King's Council. So once you understand the division, right? So this goes up to the Sanhedrin, right? The Sanhedrin, not the Great Sanhedrin. It's a life or death matter. It does go up to the high court, but it goes to the high court in that region, in that area. So if it's in the land of Issachar, then the Issachar Sanhedrin can deal with the matter. It doesn't have to come up to the Great Sanhedrin, right? That's for higher matters. And it will specify into which high court matters go to when it comes to life and death and fines and, getting somebody off of a case or putting somebody on a case, or we'll get to that. Whether the ox had gored a son or a daughter of Yasharal, so this is one of the nation, right? One who is part of the nation, right? So let's say you say a son or daughter of Yasharal. When it says Yasharal, you have to understand, we're talking about Yasharal is a mixed community. It consists of Edomi, the sons of Esau. It consists of the sons of Ishmael, the sons of Isaac, right? So you have Esau and Jacob. So you have both of those. So you have the Ishmaeli, you have the sons of Isaac, and of all the servants who have an earring in their ear, right? So when you look at Chronicles, you're looking at the chronicling of the nations of Yasharal, and you'll see Ishmaelites, you'll see Edomites, you'll see, of course, Jacob's sons, but you also the servants, because it says once they commit to a 50-year commitment to live and work and stay in the land and help build the nation, that's it. This person will get an earring. They are treated as one of us. So any crime that befall them who have an earring, this is one that is in covenant with us. Okay? It says, according to that judgment, it shall be done to him. So if the ox goreth a Canaanite manservant or handmaid, the master of the man or woman shall give 30 selene of silver, and the ox shall be stoned. So it tells you what the cost is. 30 selene of silver. That's it's a lot. Okay, so if a shekel is 1, right, you have to say the selene is like 10, right? And then 30 tens or 30 hundreds. I'm not going to get into the shekel breakdown. I do actually know how to do the math and do what it is. I know what the weights are. But we'll get into that at another time. Right now, we're just dealing with the basic rules. But say, stick a pin in it. 30 selene. What's a selene? We'll get to that at another time. But we need to finish the law first. Okay? If a man openeth a pit in the street and does not cover it, and an ox or an ass fall therein, then the master of the pit. So the one who dug the pit is the master of the pit. So he dug the pit, this is his pit. Shall deliver silver to give to its owner the price of the ox or the ass, and the dead body shall be his. So what's the price of an ox? It's 30 selene of silver. In today's time, that's going to be somewhere around $2,000 to $3,000. All right. So that's the price of the ox or the ass. And when an ox woundeth his neighbor's ox, and he die, they shall sell the living ox and divide the price, and the price of the dead one they also divide. So if two oxes fight, say, I'm plowing the field and my neighbor's ox gets loose and attacks my ox and gores it and kills it. All right, we're going to sell the dead one for food, and you're going to sell your live one for money, and now we're going to, divide it. That's how it works. We both going to lose an ox today. All right? So this is the law concerning it. Now, I know some people just sat back and said, 30 saline, that's about $2,000, $3,000. That's not a lot of money, right? It is. And I'll explain to you how it is, right? So the value of silver now is being kept ill proportionately low, right? So if you had to account for inflation, right, the price of silver, right, would actually be more comparable to the price of gold, and the price of gold would be 10 times more. So the value of gold and the value of silver are 1/10 apart. Everything is divided by 1/10, right? So the value of oil to the value of a water soluble liquid, right? So if I give somebody 10 gallons of grape juice, right? 10 gallons of grape juice. If I want to make an equal equivalent in olive oil, I only have to give him 1 gallon of olive oil. So 1 gallon of olive oil is because it's viscous and thick, and it costs more to compress to extract that out. The volume of the olive oil is 10 times the value of the watery liquid. Okay, so everything is divided by tenths, right? So you have a shekel, then you have shekelim, right? And the shekelim is 10 times more. So then you have a shekelim, then you have a silin, and that's 10 times more. So you go from 1, 10, 100. All right, so I guess I needed to break that down. I was trying to bypass it, but in my mind is I don't want to begin to lay down the seeds of confusion. And then later on, when we come to actually showing you how to create a shekel weight and how to divide out and what we use, right? Because we do have weights here. So there is a shekel weight, right? And the weights are divided and meted out by the weights that we have here. So we have a weight, we have accurate weights, we have calibration weights to give the accurate weight of what a shekel is, the accurate weight of what 10 shekels, 20, 50, they're all specified. And so since our liquid economy will be silver, as you can see, it's a lot of silver, right? So our main economy is based on silver. There are very few things that we spend gold on. Okay? So now we're at verse 36, and we'll come back with the next class tomorrow, and we'll start going into theft. So take this class, just start reading it, going through it, thinking about what I've discussed, what we've said, and we're going to move forward because, I know this is pretty dry. I told everybody this is not a religious class. And so now you hear me read the law, and while there is mention of Allah, of God, There is no religiosity. This is a structured law, which is the manuscript. So yes, we have a law from our God. This is like the Constitution. This is the Bill of Rights. This is the our law book. Period. Now, if you go by any other nation's law book and you try to bring it here, it ain't gonna work. That's not how we function here. You think that law is common. It's not, because it's not here. Even when you get here, you're going to find that our law is stricter than the Jordanian kingdom's law. This is what it's supposed to be. Our law is the predecessor. It is the original. So yeah, it's going to be stricter. It's going to be more detailed. It's going to produce more wealth and even a better lifestyle. So that's it for this class. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in our next class.